Hey, it's Keith Smith from PilotEdge. Going to be doing a demonstration flight in X-Plane 10 in the CRJ-200. Today it's the Channel 1 departure from John Wayne with the San Marcos transition out to San Francisco. What's interesting about this departure is it's got a couple of twists and turns to it before you can easily engage the FMS at the Santa Catalina VOR. So we're going to do a hybrid departure where we're using raw data, and VORs that is, and radials for the first half of the departure, and then once we get to Santa Catalina where it becomes just simple point-to-point navigation, we will engage the FMS. Did one extra tutorial already so far, which would be the Port 5 departure out of San Francisco. I thought I'd record another one here for emphasis, in this case the Channel 1. So let's go ahead and begin. We shall connect to the network to begin. Going to use PilotEdge for our ATC and traffic. So we'll connect to SkyWest 5176 and a CRJ.
Connected to PilotEdge.
That's done. And we will file CRJ, John Wayne to San Francisco, Channel 1 departure, San Marcos transition, J501 to Big Sur to arrival. Flight level 260, 470 knots, true airspeed. That's filed. Let's close the door, jump in, and get going. While the APU is getting started, we'll start the IRS alignment process, engage the yaw dampers, and hydraulic 3A goes on. Let's get the beacon on. Just wait for the APU to become available. While we're doing that, KSNA for our startup location. Fire up the APU and set position. There we go, and the IRS line is taking place. Over to the flight plan page. We said we were flight number SkyWest 5176. Going to San Francisco. Off of 19 right, Channel 1 departure, San Marcos transition, back to the flight plan, and we head over to the next page, and you can see it's taken us as far as San Marcos. Next is J501. It's important to enter the airway first. I've just spent the last half an hour working that out. And that takes us to Big Sur. Over to the arrivals page for San Francisco. Big Sur to arrival, there are no transitions on it. ILS 28 left from Menlo is what we'll expect, and we'll execute that. Review the legs. Ventura, San Marcos, Pegas and Zonal are fixes along the airway, so we know that's worked. There's Big Sur, and all the fixes on the Big Sur to arrival to Menlo, and then all the fixes for the ILS 28 left. So we are all set there. Start performance initialization. It's 26 degrees outside. Okay, takeoff limit set, and I guess we'll do our radios. Get some frequencies from the airport facility diagram here. I always use COM2 if I can for clearance and ground. So clearance goes first. Ground on the east side, which is where we are, is 120.8. Getting all of this from the diagram. Tower for 19 right is going to be 126.8. And experience tells me it's going to be 127.2 for the departure, but that's okay. If we didn't know the departure frequency, we'll be getting it in our IFR clearance anyway. Let's go ahead and pick up that clearance. Got to move down here and hit that selector to select COM2. Let's give them a buzz. just have that there in case I forget my flight number. Jumping clearance, good evening, SkyWest 5176 with the numbers IFR to San Francisco.
SkyWest 5176, John Wayne clearance delivery, good evening. Cleared to the San Francisco International Airport, Channel 1 departure, San Marcos transition. Maintain 5,000. Expect flight level 260, 5 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 127.2, squawk 7 tree 74.
SkyWest 5176, cleared to San Francisco, Channel 1 departure, San Marcos transition, then I'm guessing as filed after that. Maintain 5, expect 260 and 5, departure 27.2, squawk 7 tree 74. Get the transponder in. He didn't say as filed, so I wanted to verify.
Affirmative after San Marcos, then as filed, read back correct.
SkyWest 5176, thanks. Okay. Radios are set. At least the comm radios are set. Now, this is where it gets exciting, so let's make sure we get this right. Got the Channel 1 departure plate up. And there are two different ways of doing this with raw data. The departure calls for runway heading or the localizer south course out to 1 DME. That's fine, except it means we'd have to have the localizer tuned, and there are two other VORs we're going to need during this departure. The second is Seal Beach, the third is Santa Catalina. I'd rather skip using that first one if I can, and we can because rather than using 1 DME off of the localizer, you can also use the Seal Beach 118 radial to identify that fix, and instead just fly runway heading instead of the localizer. So let's do that. This will be less frequency changes that we need to deal with shortly after takeoff, which is good. So 115.7 on the nav1. That's done. And then Santa Catalina is 111.4 on the nav2. That's done. Okay, all done with that. Let's pop this guy up and let's set our courses. So the first radial we're interested in is the 118 radial. There we go. The second will be the 132, but we can't pre-dial that. And eventually we're going to join the 084 radial to Santa Catalina, which is on the nav2. So we just keep dragging our nav source knob until we see nav2, which is done. And obviously to join a radial inbound, it's the reciprocal, so the reciprocal of 084 is 264. You can just put 084 on the tail too. That's doing the trick right there. Okay, so the radios are set for that quite nicely. Okay, let's pre-dial our heading. We're going to fly runway heading here, which will be about 190. Okay, that's done, and we're climbing to 5,000. That's set. Let's get some V speeds in. You know what, for speed I'm going to skip that. If you'd like to see the setting of V speeds, watch the Port 5 departure video where I actually do set them. I'm going to skip them here today and just set a climb speed of 163. That's what I remembered from the last one, and it is close enough for our purposes today. We do want to move this format knob 2 settings over to the right to be able to see our fixes.
Point 3 Bravo Romeo Heavy
in the FMS. There they are. Do that with a lower range, 10 mile range is fine. Okay, ready for engine start. Let's get that going.
Boeing 3 Bravo Romeo exit, Boeing 3 Bravo Romeo Heavy exit right on Hotel 6.
Okay, all the hydraulics on.
Taxi departing via Hotel Papa Charlie.
Bleed air from the APU.
Charlie 10. Cross runway 25.
Ignition and start. that is a good looking start on 2. Start 1. Just watching the ITT there, make sure we don't get a hot start. Okay, that's all working nicely. Let's turn the generators on. APU gen off. Kill the pumps. Kill the bleed air. Kill the APU, kill the ignition, packs on probes. And we're all set. Okay, no annunciator lights, we're good. Anyone who sat through the San Francisco video knows that I can't push back, and I've just recently started using scenery, so it's a little bit interesting getting out of these spots. I think we'll be okay with a pretty aggressive right turn out of here. What's the worst thing that could happen is you careen towards a fuel truck, other than taking it out with your left wing. Okay, once we're fully turned around, which we are, we'll stop. I just want to make sure my transponder is set to the correct mode. There we go, from standby to altitude, and on the COM2 radio we were talking to clearance. We'll swap that over to ground. Alright, field elevation's around 40 feet or so. Flaps. So takeoff trim. John Wayne Ground, Skywest 5176, main terminal with the numbers taxi.
Skywest 5176, John Wayne Ground, runway 19er right. Taxi via Alpha Lima, across runway 19er left.
19 right, taxi via Alpha Lima, cross 19 left, Skywest 5176. Shoot, I think I turned one early. Yep, I did. Stopped there. Ground Skywest 5176. We turned early on Kilo. Can we back taxi 19 left to join Lima?
Skywest 5176, back taxi runway 19er left, left on Lima to 19 right.
Okay, back taxi 19 left, left on Lima, short of 19 right, Skywest 5176. And that's why you don't try to set instruments while taxiing. Alright, there we are, short of 19 right. So, swap to COM1. And we're on tower with departure set. Just going to get ourselves configured here, so we're going to need heading mode and speed. I'm looking for that 163 on the speed. There we go, and we do have heading mode engaged there. Excellent. So I'm going to make sure I have my channel 1 chart on my second screen. So we're going to be runway heading until we cross that Seal Beach radial. Verify that's a 118 course, that's set. And after that it'll be a 175 heading till the 132 radial. So here goes. John Wayne Tower, Sky 5176, short of 19 right, ready for takeoff.
Skywest 5176, John Wayne Tower, runway 19 right, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 19 right, Skywest 5176. Boy, that was pretty dodgy. I was actually on the wrong hold short line. I hadn't quite cleared 19 left. No one landing, plus we got to say hello to the burn victim. Here's 80. The rotate was at about 150-ish. Gears coming up, pitch for that speed, and engage autopilot there. Slowly releasing back pressure, watching the trim hurrying to catch up. There we go, it's done. Next thing that's going to happen is going to tell us to contact departure. So I want my button ready there.
Skywest 5176, contact SoCal departure, good flight.
Over to departure, Skywest 5176. Okay, we've already missed the turn, so let's do that first. New heading 175. Kill the flaps, increase some speed, and let's contact departure. SoCal departure, Skywest 5176, 3000, climbing 5000. Next radial we want the 132.
Skywest 5176, SoCal departure, radar contact, climb and maintain 3000.
Up to 13,000, Skywest 5176. Okay, I'm watching that needle coming in, and at the same time I'm trying to set my altitude 13,000. The next heading we want is going to be 200. Okay, 13,000 set. We're on the 175 heading. We can increase speed a little here. Here comes the radial, Seal Beach radial, 132, done. Now we change the heading to 200. Done.
Skywest 5176, clear direct to Santa Catalina.
Okay, direct to Santa Catalina. Any chance we can fly the full departure for training? Skywest 5176.
Skywest 5176, roger, no problem. Just resume your navigation and VFR traffic 1 o'clock, 2 miles westbound, 6,500 indicated.
Okay, got the VFR traffic in sight, and we'll continue on departure, Skywest 5176. Okay, so we're on a 200 heading, that's done. Let's climb at 250 knots. Done. And now I'm interested in my nav2, which will be Santa Catalina. That course is already pre-dialed, the 264 course. So all we're waiting is for that radial to come in. We're on the 200 heading, and we don't actually have to wait for that to happen.
5176, contact LA Center 119.95.
1995, Skywest 5176. We don't actually have to wait for that to happen. We can just engage nav mode. But let's contact center first, 119.95. And I'll arm the nav mode, I should say, not engage, but arm. That's armed, and you can still see it's in heading mode. LA Center Skies 5176, 9100 climbing 13,000.
Skies 5176, Los Angeles Center, maintain flight level 260.
Climb maintain flight level 260, Skies 5176. In the last video we didn't climb quite as quickly because we were more heavily loaded. I didn't change the default weight on this, so it's relatively lightly loaded. That's all set. Let's transition now to 290 knots, so we'll engage vertical speed mode. We're currently at 2,800 feet a minute. When I engage vertical speed mode, it commands pretty much the same vertical speed. That's done. All we have to do now is reduce the vertical speed to, say, about half that. Let's do 1,200 feet a minute. And that way we continue our climb, but we're increasing the speed to our target speed, which is now going to be 290 for the climb. Okay, just judging by what I'm seeing here, I'm expecting this needle to come in pretty soon. Yeah, actually, this is off by 14 degrees, which is the whole problem. Just about that's pretty much the magnetic variation for this area. So that's 240 there on the rows. That's showing a 250 course. Yeah, we're actually waiting to 264, which is a bit longer. So the FMS is way off right now in terms of what it wants to do. Okay, we can also set climb thrust here. Go to performance, thrust limit, climb. Get an even better climb. We're above 10,000 feet, landing lights off. Check our cabin altitude here, make sure the pressurization system is doing well. It is. Okay, there is the right turn. Heading mode is gone, nav mode is now engaged, and it's going to join the 264 course. Okay. The FMS has not got a clue what's going on right now. So it's still sequencing us to Seal Beach, which rather comical. So what we need to do is pull up our legs. Once we're established on this course, once we're dead straight on this course, we will command direct Santa Catalina, but not until we're established on the course. And you know what? I overshot that speed I wanted, so let's engage the speed mode of 290. Get a better climb then. Okay, and we'll bring up our direct page. We are established on the course, I'm going to say. So we want direct Santa Catalina. That's the projected line. Looks good. Execute. Nothing's really changed. All we've done is we've told the FMS we want to go direct Catalina. That's great, but we're still in nav mode. So if I did nothing, we would coast right through Catalina and keep going straight, which we don't want. So it's time to tell the autopilot that we no longer want to use nav 2. We want to be using the FMS. Done. Slight course correction, but just a tiny bit. And that's it. I know the FMS can do what it needs to do at this point because the line coming off this is heading towards Ventura, and if you look at the list of waypoints it's going to fly, Santa Catalina, Ventura is correct. Obviously the last one's the destination. There it is, the Channel 1 departure, San Marcos transition using raw data off of Seal Beach for the first 2 turns. So we did runway heading till crossing the 118 radial, then a left turn to 175 till we crossed the 132 radial, then a right turn to 200. At that time we swapped over to using Santa Catalina for our course guidance, the 084 radial or the 264 course inbound to it. We laughed hysterically at the FMS's interpretation of what we were supposed to be doing. Hang on, we're just passing through the transition altitude here, 18,000, so we hit the barrow button, and this resets to 29902. Okay, we're over Santa Catalina, now sequencing towards Ventura, then San Marcos, which is correct. So where were we? We were on the 200 heading. We waited for the Santa Catalina radial to come in. Actually, we didn't wait. We armed the nav mode while we were in heading mode, and the autopilot made the turn for us once we got course guidance off of Santa Catalina. And once we were established on the course to Santa Catalina, that would be the 264 course to Santa Catalina, or the 084 radial, we then swapped from using raw data into FMS mode. Actually, prior to that, we then told the FMS we wanted to go direct Catalina. So that erased all the garbage that it had before it. Direct Catalina, which we were already on the correct course to Catalina. That was an important step. Once we verified that direct Catalina looked good, we then swapped from nav 2 mode to FMS mode. And from this point on, the FMS will do a sterling job of flying the rest of the departure. Alright, thanks for watching. Hope it helped.